morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming and joining us here today. This is our second exhibition that we've had. Last year we were in this room only, and this year, obviously, we've managed to branch out a bit bigger to bring ACES into the community. I'm quite proud that ACES is the first Afro-Caribbean charity in Bridlington itself. There's quite a lot out in Hull and, various places around the area, but I'd like to do it differently in a sense that it's not just an Afro-Caribbean, it's Afro-Caribbean and South American. The Friends by the Sea could be anybody in the local community. So we are not limited to who we actually engage and help. Anyone walks through the doors and we help them. Me. Yep. And then basically, I'll pay you later. Basically, we engage with the LGBTQ+ community because it's very important to be respectful of everybody in the community. I'm proud to have actually attended the Bridlington Pride 2 years in a row and having a table. It's about working together and helping each other as it is. The thing is, even though you see me standing before you, and I'm normally the one with the voice, there's usually quite a lot of companies behind me, and I do think it's important to highlight it. First of all, I'd like to thank Homicide Police for coming, DCI Sweeting, well, you know me too well, Andy Ewan, and we've got Samuel, for all the wrong reasons. But what it is, I find it, obviously, yes, I used to work for police, the Met and Homicide, but I find that when I say community, it isn't segregating or alienating anybody as such. I think it's fundamentally important that we have and help police in terms of police in the community, because if they're not supported, it could be, quite worse. So things happen, we still have to be supportive, and sometimes it's not as simple and straightforward as it is. And I've always engaged with inviting police, as Danny Fleming will know. We do a party in the park every year with the charity. We bring jerk chicken from Hull, cooked authentically, and then we mix it with either sweet potato fries, coleslaw, or even chunky chips. Behind that, there's about 14 different companies that actually help us do that. So this is our little logo in terms of wanting to be respectful to all. Aloha, they have a nice little steakhouse restaurant overlooking the sea just outside of here. They're the ones that fry the chips. They fry sweet potato chips and stuff, have it ready, and we just collect it. If I had to organise everything and then do it at home, it would be chaos. I do cook sometimes. We've got Barbuda. As I said, we did 3 parties in the park. It's a small local park off of St Hilda, Windsor, Crescent. We've done it 3 years in a row. We did it for the Queen's Jubilee, we did it for the King's Coronation, and recently we did it for D-Day 80, because it's important to acknowledge the sacrifice that people have made. For the 3rd year in a row this year, I've actually gone and made a wreath at the Remembrance service here in Bridlington. So it's important engaging with the wider community on a regular basis. Barbuda provided the music this year for the party in the park. Geckos across the road has been very helpful. We've got a bit of an empire going on. There's Jerome's and Salt in the Harbour. That's part of the Harrison Leisure Company. They own quite a lot of businesses and restaurants in Bridlington. When we first started 2.5 years ago, Michael Harrison actually let us have the dining room in Brunswick for free for 6 months. So it's a case, it's not just, okay, we're here, the businesses that actually fully support and are on board with us. This is a friend of mine, Lee. She used to work at ACES, one of the best Chinese restaurants in Bridlington, but she's actually set up on her own now. But we've actually arranged and negotiated that for, because we celebrate Lunar New Year, we actually celebrate Yorkshire Day, and what I tend to do, I get a local business to actually cater, so we're actually bringing business to the community as well. We've got Canny FC as well, you have to have chicken in there. It's a case, yeah, there we go. Canny FC, they actually help out with the charity as well. We've got Steve, even though it's called Peter Arthur's t-shirt, He normally does like the logo and t-shirts and stuff for us since the beginning of the charity. Here we go, we've got Roots Rum Shack, which are all the way in Hull. Now my daughter and I prepared to travel on a 4-hour round trip on the bus to actually go and get the West Indian food here. I have visions of delusions of actually opening up a West Indian restaurant in Brid. If we got the charity, might as well have the restaurant, but it's actually authentic, it's cooked traditionally, and it is as it is. But they came up with us to Filey, they've done catering here, and all these different things. So there's quite a lot of businesses that we actually tie in that are supportive, even though they're busy doing their everyday business. We've got Seacourt Hotel, which is owned by Richie, that owns Richie's Cafe on the beach. I have blamed him for my actual weight, because if he didn't cook so well, I would be a lot slimmer. But they do a really nice carvery, and on the Yorkshire Day, we actually take people there. Christmas this year, I organised a grant. I always get these ideas and then they just takes off. 38 people wanted to go. I got a grant and we actually took 48 people for Christmas meal. I made it so that people just have to pay £10, so £10 for a 3-course Christmas meal is not bad. And basically 48 people attended, so we took quite a lot of money in one day into that establishment. But the food is really, really enjoyable. 5 and 2, this is a personal one for me. Susie. Since we came to Bridlington, Susie has been like my best friend in the sense of she used to open up her door at 6:55 in the morning to take Jazz to school, and it wasn't the same school that her son went to, and I was able to actually go and work in Beverley for Humberside Police. If she didn't do that, I wouldn't actually be, as a single parent, be able to actually go out and get a job. I don't think she understands that we're eternally grateful, because I would not open up my door to anybody's child, let alone at 6:55 in the morning. But when you deal with all these people, they're not just businesses. It's not just about getting stuff out of them. It's actually a community where there's a friendship, there's long-term engagements and stuff like that. Even including Tesco's, because part of the grant for today, we actually got a grant from Tesco's as well to make it possible. So it's linking in with quite a lot of businesses. It's bringing the community together, and it's not necessarily about having, let's say, an agenda. We have, with the charity that we do, we have helped 2 people that actually had serious addictions. Okay, we didn't sit down and do it personally, but even though they go and we direct them to where they can get help professionally, we are still there as a steady in terms of, yes, I don't judge, because people assume because I work for police, if they've got a drug addiction, I'm going to be judging them. I don't judge anybody unless I walk in their shoes, because if people walked in my shoes, as Sam will know, they'll be accused of locking a man in a shed when I've actually helped him. A true story. He had a heart attack the year before. He was homeless, so he got kicked out for hoarding. But what had happened is a case that he didn't have anywhere to stay, and I've got a summer house at the back, so I let him stay there for 3 months. But rumours got spread that I'd actually locked him in the shed and I was charging him rent. So sometimes you have to be careful of how you actually help people. I mean, it's quite embarrassing. I do not lock men in the shed, and if I do, it's a willing victim. It's consensual. But basically, we help people as best as we can, and it's just about the community. I mean, the frustrating thing is, there's so many things. I mean, if I don't mention what happened in Hull this year alone, it would be an injustice. I mean, obviously not everybody likes each other, not everybody gets on. However, you have to have an impasse in community where without that respect, or basic respect, it can get quite chaotic. So the frustrating thing is there's quite a lot of issues that need to be talked about, ironed out, and if we don't face them and quite frankly say, okay, we need to look at it realistically, because some people think I'm quite controversial. For example, I've got Sarah Lawson, who is a very qualified professor, and Sarah's done a cookbook on West Indian cooking. Now, some people will get up in arms that, but she's not black. I don't care, as long as the food tastes great.
I don't cook, it's my partner.
Yeah, well, he followed your instructions. But I like to actually let people think about history and the perceptions that we have in terms of history. There are other things as well. For example, we've got a presentation from Wilberforce. I'm quite impassioned. Well, Nick couldn't be here today, he was here last year. Nick is part of Hull University and the Wilberforce Institute. Now, unfortunately, when people hear Wilberforce, they automatically assume they talk about slavery. Now, if you go back in history and look at every race, whether it's the Romans and stuff like that, every race has tried to enslave another race at some point. So sometimes when people mention slavery, they keep thinking of African slavery. But I'm trying to let people look at things from a different angle. For example, St. Patrick, he was actually a slave. He was captured by pirates and sold into slavery. Even though he's an Irish saint, he's actually British. So I like people to look at things that are not perceived as the norm, as it were. And that's what we try to do with the charity. But it's not necessarily lecturing. It's exploring history, because without it, you wouldn't actually know how we ended up where we are today. And what I'm always trying to say is that by knowing history, if you know it, you try not to repeat it. And one last controversial thing, in a sense of, with England, if you look at the size of England, and you look at the size of America, obviously there's a big difference, it's a lot smaller. English society are usually very helpful, they like to help people and bring people in. Unfortunately, you've got quite a lot of countries that need help, and after a while you will run out of space. So instead of letting everybody come in, you have to solve the problem where the problem is. So it actually alleviates some of the pressure, because when you have overcrowding, you have to take care of the people that are here first, like the elderly. Try not to be political, but you have got to take care of people that are here. I mean, one of the reasons, or one of the many reasons why we set up a charity, I never realised that Bridlington was actually classed, or Bridlington South only, was classed as a deprived area. Now, I was actually born in Guyana, South America, which was a third world developing country in the 80s. So I know what it is to go without, but I never realised that actually happens here in England. And I think it's not just Bridlington alone, it's in Europe as well. So when I'm sitting there comfortably, not worrying about much, I realise that there are people out there in the community that are suffering a lot more. So I reach out and try and help, and to be honest with you, if somebody needs help and they accept it, it takes a lot for a person to actually accept help or say that they need help. But it's important to realise that you can't help everybody by bringing them in, because there's several wars that are happening that's impacted. But I think what people need to express or look at, England is small and you can't bring everybody in with overcrowding. So I think it's a discussion that needs to be had to explore the fact that yes, it's not that you don't want to help people, you can help people, but if you alleviate the problem where it is, they can still stay within their familiar environment and still actually be helped.